Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and as you can see from the title, I got myself a power meter, so let's do this thing. So before I start, I must just give a big shout out to my local bike store, Singletrack, and Barent over there. He really helped me a lot with actually getting this power meter, because I'm not sure if you've ever looked for a power meter before. It's pretty confusing stuff to know what to get, what's going to fit, well, how long the bolts must be. I mean, the questions are just endless. In fact, I've been researching getting a power meter for about 2 or 3 years now, and the thing that's put me off every single time is I'm not sure. Obviously, it's cost a lot of money, these things. You don't want to spend money and then the thing doesn't fit. So I've always been a little bit apprehensive to get one, because you obviously don't want to buy the wrong thing. So maybe you can let me know in the description, or rather in the comments below, how you feel about that whole process, about getting a power meter, which power meter you selected, why you selected that power meter, if it helps, and how you use that power meter. So at the end of the day, I went for a Power2Max power meter. That one came out top in my research. It's obviously got to do a lot with which one will fit on your crankset. 3 bolts, 8 bolts, I don't know, it just carries on going, the whole story. You also get different ones that go on the actual crank arm themselves, such as stages and 4i. Always want to say 3i, but 4i. I looked at those, but once again, you know, depending on the crankset you got, there's a whole lot of variations and variants that you have to do, and there's no real single place you can go to look at for information or get feedback to tell you what is the right thing to get or what is the right thing to buy. So at the end of the day, I guess you just got to do research. My research came up with the Power2Max, and the Power2Max actually comes with 2 different variants, and the one variant, or the 2 variants that you get from the website, is you get the NG and you get the NG Eco. And the difference between the 2 is basically the NG is the one with, I'm just going to start at the top. They both got ANT and Bluetooth. The NG is plus or minus 1% accurate. The Eco is plus or minus 2%. The NG is rechargeable, and the Eco has got that little battery that you can replace. The rechargeable one's only got 150 hours. And the other one's got 300 hours. I mean, I'm making as 150 hours is nothing. You're not going to go on a single ride for 150 hours. Then it comes to the functionality. Obviously, they both support power, cadence, and then left-right balance is only actually available on the NG version, and it's upgradable on the Eco. Same with pedal smoothing and torque, and the warranty. It comes with a 2-year warranty, but this can be extended to 5 years. Now that's where I came between the decision between the NG or the Eco, because I think once you've upgraded the Eco to the point where it's the same as the NG, you might as well just buy the NG version with a rechargeable battery. And then all the reviews that I've looked at, some people complain about that little door, that battery cover, it breaks off and you got to replace it. So I wasn't 100% happy with that situation. So opted for the NG version. Let me know in the comments below what you guys have got, the NG or the Eco, and how you like it and how it's working out. But let's go over to the workbench and have a closer look. So my version, or my crank, is what they call the dub version. And once again, like I say, this is very confusing. It depends on which one you have. But I've got the 3 bolts, so it'll actually work quite well with the actual power meter itself. But the power meter just comes in a box like this. So we'll just open that up. Inside, obviously, I've got the USB cable for charging. That obviously only comes with the NG version, not with the Eco version. You get a little manual here, quick reference guide. That we'll have to go through pretty carefully. And then they say over here that you must obviously just take the sticker off, paste it there, because that's important when you download the app to connect to the power meter to do the settings that are required. Then another thing that's interesting, this is obviously the power meter. This power meter, I had the bike shop install the actual chain ring themselves, because I wasn't sure if it needed the nut at the back or if it would just go through. I was also not sure if it needed the standard length bolts or the extra long bolts. Once again, I say there's just all these things that just pile up, and you just become more and more uncertain as to what to get. So they install it. You have to get a chain ring, unless you obviously got a chain ring. This was a 104 chain ring or type chain ring, and then it'll replace this existing chain ring over here. So this chain ring can obviously not fit onto this one. I think these do actually support the oval chain rings, but I've decided to now move away after 6 or 7 years riding with oval. I'm going back to the round one, see how that works out for me, and yeah, if that works better. Another thing that confused me actually on the websites, and maybe you can also let me know in the comments, was over here you get different color ones. I actually thought it came out and was like a cover that goes over here, but it turns out that that's not. It's actually stickers. So you get a whole lot of stickers that come with it that you can stick on your actual power meter there to, I guess, match your colors of your bike if you want to do that sort of thing. So that's also one thing that wasn't very clear on my research. I thought it was covers that you actually got with the thing, and if you bought a green one, it was a green one. Maybe a stupid observation or assumption of mine over there. So obviously you take this sticker off here that comes here, and this will be used to pair your app with your power meter. So I'll just stick that over there for safekeeping. And now to install the actual power meter, I must remove those 3 bolts. They are torque bolts, so I'll just get the right tools quickly. Okay, so I've got the torque little bolt over here. We'll set that in there and loosen those quickly. Okay, once I've loosened all the bolts, just take the old chain ring off, like so. Make sure everything's clean. Okay, so this is one of the reasons I also got this crank meter, is because this crank meter supports the 3 bolts. So we'll just go put that on over there now. Obviously it's got to fit exactly right. I mean, you can't really go wrong here. Can only fit in one way. As you can see there, those 3 bolts have to align. It can't really go any other way. So we've got that there like that. The bolts go back. You torque them up to between 8 and 9 Newton meters. I'll just do that quickly. Okay, between 8 and 9 Newton meters. So I'll just set it to 8.5. And I'll just gradually tighten it, not all at the same time. Gently getting up to that torque spec. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now I guess if you want to install one of the stickers, now's the best time to do it. I don't know if it's really going to make a difference, but that's up to you. So now we're going to install the crank basically back onto the bicycle quickly. First I'm just going to make sure everything's nice and clean here before I install anything. Put a bit of grease on the threads. Now observing the direction in which the crank must be turned, and it should be turned to, there is a spec over there, it says 54 Newton meters. I'll just start that off with a normal Allen key. but obviously observing the crank direction, I mean, you can't really get that wrong either. I think you'll feel like a bit of a fool if you got that wrong and you started cycling anyway. Okay, so that's on, but before I tighten that up, let me just make sure the chain line and everything is correct, because that was also one of the things I was worried about. Yeah, that looks perfect. Okay, excellent. Make sure everything changes gears. Yeah, there's no problem there. Okay, so now I'm just going to tighten this up to 54 Newton meters. And then I'm also going to replace the chain with a newer chain, just to make sure that everything here is new and ready to go. Okay, so using my bigger torque wrench, I'll then just torque this up to 54 Newton meters. There we go. One thing to note about the USB cable is it's a proprietary one, and it's got a special magnet connector there that actually connects onto the power meter to allow it to charge. So to charge the power meter, you just remove this little rubber or cover here, which I'm a little bit worried about because that could actually fall off. It's just not actually connected there. It's just got a, it's basically just pressed in there. So just have to make sure that's 100% pressed in there, otherwise that'll be lost. But that comes off like that. Suppose you don't have to take the whole thing off. And then the actual USB cable itself, as I showed you earlier, has got that magnetic little clip there that just clips onto it. And the other side you connect your USB charger, and then you're able to charge the unit. So when the power meter starts to charge, this little light over here starts to flash, and when it's finished charging, it'll go off. Okay, once you've got the app up and running, it shows you the battery status at the top, some information, some settings. You can go into the settings. If you get the Eco version, not all of this will be available to you unless you've paid for the upgrade. There's a firmware version available, so I'll just press on that. See if it does it. So I have heard of some people having problems with upgrading the actual firmware. But it seems to be going okay. Okay, so the update was successful. So guys, that's my quick installation of the Power2Max power meter. The only frustrating thing was actually deciding which power meter to get. And even if you decide which power meter to get, which bolts go with the power meter, which chain ring goes on the power meter, does it fit onto your chain ring, not on your chain ring and your crankset, is it compatible? Is your Q factor correct? All these things come up, so maybe you can let me know in the comments if you've also had these frustrations. Then installing the actual power meter was pretty straightforward once obviously you've got the power meter. The charging is also not a problem. It's got a proprietary little USB cable, so obviously you don't want to lose that. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments below as well. Another comment there if you've what your feelings are, what your experiences are with this power meter and how it's going. But I'm hoping that this power meter is going to help me with pacing, not necessarily training outside, but I'm sure it's also going to help me with that. But I'd like to do the negative split on a race, and let's see how that works as far as the power and how it helps me pace and that sort of thing. But guys, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.